that conversation was held between the bandits, the terrorists, and the government, and that there were mediators, in the process, according to what he said. He was told. So, and he said the money that was agreed was 5 billion naira, and 1.9 billion was released to them. So he's now raising this allegation so that the remaining 3.9 billion should be located to know who and who has cornered the 3.9 billion, basically. So, and again, I think he also want to use the opportunity to bring out those in government that are playing critical role in encouraging these people. Because the issue here is that once they keep paying ransom, you know what 5 billion is, for example, even the 1.9 billion they claim they have received. Do you know what he can do for them? They buy more motorcycles they use to attack communities. They buy more guns they use to, attack communities, more weapons, more arms, more recruitment, and so on and so forth. So these are the things we are talking about. So if you are paying ransom, you are already fueling the security situation. That is the ills of ransom payment. This ransom now that we are talking about, and let's also assume that Kaigama is saying the truth, for example. So the 3.9 billion now, if you go and check, there may not be more than 10 people who have cornered that one. Let's assume the guy is saying the truth, and that's exactly what happened. So who are those few individuals who have cornered 3.9 billion? This insecurity issue in Nigeria, have lingered over the years, more than a decade. And the basic truth is that there's quite a whole lot of obscurity, in the way and manner the government handle this insecurity problem. That's why, over and over again, you hear a lot of allegations, coming up that the government is complicit in the security situation of the country. You hear people mention some certain names of, people in government talking about their role on how they, kind of motivate, these terrorists that does this evil in our country. And we have had a lot of allegations coming up about how people in government benefit from, this fight against insecurity in terms of how they use the opportunity to siphon resources, how money, budgeted for security issues disappears, issue of security vote, issue of budgetary allocations, and so on and so forth. So a lot of all these things have come up several times, over the years. And at the end of the day, they don't nip it in the bud in terms of trying to, discuss it at length, investigate it, and be able to, put it to an end so that it will not continue to reoccur. Why am I saying all of this? We discovered that, recently that quite a whole lot just happened. And the most trending one as we speak is the allegation coming from, Samaila Ibrahim Kaigama, who was said to be the president of Borno, South Youth Alliance. He brought up an allegation on national television, on Channels News, talking about, the issue that happened at Ngoshe in Borno State, where 360 people were kidnapped by terrorists. And according to what he said that ransom was paid for the release of, those people, and that the government, agreed with the terrorists that they are paying 5 billion. But at the end of the day, after government released the 5 billion, only 1.9 billion was released to those bandits. The remaining 3.1 billion is missing. And they keep asking, where is the 3.1 billion naira? But the fact is that he mentioned the name of, Sen Ali Ndume. That is, they told him, the terrorist people told him that he's a mediator, in the process and all of that. And according to what he said that the terrorist guys called him to let him know that this is the amount agreed, 5 billion, and this is the amount that was released, 1.9 billion naira. So he brought it up on national television. And I remember his words saying, I repeat, he was kind of emphasizing when he was calling Sen Ali Ndume out concerning this whole issue. However, this is not the first time Sen Ali Ndume's name has been mentioned or linked to this terrorism issue. He came up some years ago, I think under Buhari's administration or something like that. I think under Buhari's administration. But the matter went to court, and at the end of the day, I think the court dismissed the matter because I think the security agency that put him up to the court were not able to prove their case in court. And that was how he was let off the hook at that time. Now his name is again resurfacing over this same, security issue, having something to do, being a middleman in this whole process. So guys, this is Andy Media TV, welcoming you to my channel this morning. So let's look into all of these things and hear from the Kaigama himself, who was alleging that Ali Ndume was a mediator and was part of the process of negotiating for, the ransom payment and all of that. And also we hear from Senator Ali Ndume what he has to say, in terms of responding to what Kaigama has said. So guys, let's hit the ground running this morning. And at the end of the day, we'll see where this whole thing is taking us to. Okay? So before I go further into full details of what transpired, if you are new to my channel, please kindly like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel and put on your notification bell so that when my next new video drop, you will be among those that will be notified. Okay? All right. So let's get into the business of the day concerning this matter. So surprisingly, this guy came up, as the president of Borno State, Youth Alliance, and began to, release, I call it bombshell, on the national TV. And when I saw him speaking, I was wondering, he was so bold, he was so, emphatic, mentioning people's name, Senator Ali Ndume and all of that. And he was also mentioning that the government is part of the, the whole thing. But one thing is certain, what he's saying is not new. Why did I say so? If you recall, there was a time students were kidnapped, either in Katsina or Niger, these two states, but I think it's Katsina State, and the guy said that the money they agreed with the terrorists is not the money that they signed off. So when they agree lesser money, let's say 1 million with the terrorists, the government people will now sign off like 30 million. The remaining 29 million is diverted. They give them their 1 million. So it's like they use this kidnapping thing as opportunity to be able to move money from government coffers, which they, within the cycle, will share. That issue came up some time ago, I think under Buhari's administration. And that guy who raised this alarm was arrested at that time. The same thing is repeating right now. Because as we speak, I heard that that guy has been picked up by the DSS. The Kaigama has been picked up by the DSS to come and explain, more on what he was trying to allege on the television station. But I remember that the guy featured twice on TV station saying the same thing. He featured twice saying the same thing. So there are many points to pick out from all of this. But before I start doing all of that, let's watch this video so that we understand what is going on, and then understand what he said, what Senator Ali Ndume also said, and we wrap up the video. Okay? Don't go away. Let's watch this video, and we'll be right back.
Do you know presently, Boko Haram have not made any attacks since the release of the Ngoshe women? They have not done one attack. And it's confirmed and it's well confirmed. They all of them, they know. I know, but I'm not part of the system. So I need to. State government are the ones orchestrating and making money out of this whole insecurity stuff. Now, when those monies was almost paid, as Senator Ali Ndume, I quote and I quote again, as Senator Ali Ndume, according to what they told me, and I have evidence to back that, they said there is a media person that calls himself a media person, a second mediator. He is the Senator Ali Ndume, a government person. They told us to communicate with him. It is only through him that monies will be paid. Monies will not be paid through anybody because he is their in-house mediator. Do you get what I'm saying? If terrorists are able to tell you that there is an in-house mediator for government, that monies will be paid only through him, what happens next? I told them, look, go ahead, do the mediations with him, release our people, that is all I want. They said it is fine. Normally we don't cross who we started with, but we will do it since you decide you are fine with it. They went ahead, they made the mediations, they received ransoms. Now later, they complained to me that the ransom they received was 1.9 billion, whilst 5 billion was released. Where is the 3 billion 100 million, specifically? Who was the mediator sent in? They said it was a Senator Ali Ndume mediator. So where are the monies? I have been speaking about this for a long time. You don't see DSS bringing in, okay, let's bring in these people. Let's see, let's investigate, let's get facts together. You don't see NSA saying anything. At a specific point, I try reaching Nuhu Ribadu. In every aspect, he says my call, he does not pick.
That was a portion on Sunrise Daily. But the man is equally on social media, and it does not look like he's backing down. He, according to him, says he has strong and ironclad evidence that Senator Ali Ndume, he also mentioned the governor of Borno State alongside the communications around ransom for the release of kidnappers. For context, listen to what he said right here on the social media.
A specific time when the Borno State government sent a second mediator, which Boko Haram later complained to me that they only received 1.9 billion. This is not an allegation, we have evidence to everything. When it gets to that point, we will release the evidence. We are working towards probing them with UN. Since the Nigerian government is not doing the needful, these people are literally getting money from insecurity. They are sharing money with Boko Haram, with ISWAP and all. Talking about ISWAP, in fact, presently as I'm speaking to you, we started mediations with ISWAP for the release of the Musa and the Lassa school children. At this point, they told us that the Borno State government told them to hold any mediation with OSL and BOSYA, so they would mediate with them through their own mediator. So monies can be paid to them through their own mediator. That is the reality of what is happening. So what we are trying to say here is, to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Borno State government and Senator Ali Ndume are complicit to insecurity in Borno State. They are complicit to what? To everything you see. They have mediators that mediate for monies. When there is another mediator, they cancel it because it would spoil whatever they have planned. Boko Haram complained to me that they only received 1.9 billion out of the money federal government released, I don't know, state government, whatever it is.
That is Mr. Kaigama there, in another instance on social media. But what are the facts to this matter? Well, let's get some clarity and answers to some of what may be bothering your mind equally about the issues raised by these gentlemen. And I'd like to ask you, are you aware of the Borno South Youth Alliance?
Yeah, I became aware of the Borno Youth Alliance after the abduction of 416 people from my local government, particularly in Ngoshe, and after he, claiming as the president of Borno South Youth Alliance, claimed that he is in contact with Boko Haram, and Boko Haram demanded a ransom of 5 billion, and that if they are not released, the money is not made available within 72 hours, the people are going to be killed, some will be married out, and all that big threat. And
so you met him face to face?
No, I've never seen him in my life.
Did you speak with him on the phone?
Yes, I have. So I spoke to him severally before I cut off, after I became suspicious of him. And then I have some voice message that he sent, and the last one that I sent to him, warning him to stop contacting me because I did the needful. What is the needful? I reported the matter to the NSA, the police, and the military intelligence, and I've been...
So you made an official complaint to the military, the police, and the NSA?
Yes, the NSA.
In writing?
No, not in writing. Lately, I made it on WhatsApp, and I spoke with the DGSS. I spoke with NSA on this matter. That is after he came on Sunrise to make those specific allegations. And I told them that there is the need to bring us in or hear him out as he said he wants to. He had. So that all this his allegation, will have the opportunity to prove those allegations. And the government should take this matter very serious because it borders on national security. It's very dangerous. In fact, international security, because ISWAP and all these terrorist organizations are involved. So after he started bothering me about personally contributing, I told him that I do not support negotiation with Boko Haram, not to talk of paying ransom. And that, I think, is where the problem started. He started issuing out all these uncoordinated and contradictory statements about my involvement and the like. I said it already, that in my life, I've never seen 1 billion at once cash, not to talk of 5 billion. And Shehu, you know, if we're talking about 5 billion is not a small figure. Even if it's in the highest currency, that is 1,000. I don't think this place can take 5 billion if it is cash. That is if cash was paid. If it is not paid by cash, which account was that money paid to? Who was responsible for the payment? Is it the state government as he's claiming? And if it is so, he should go as it is now to prove to the responsible authorities that this is what happened, that is why it happened. So after complaining severally to DSS and SS, I understand now, day before yesterday or 2 days ago, he has been invited by DSS to come and explain. So I think so far that is what he's in, because...
Samaila Kaigama, that is his name.
Samaila Ibrahim Kaigama.
Now, you said you have never met him one-on-one, that you only have spoken with him on the phone and exchanged messages with him. But are you aware that he has helped out in the rescue or the release of some abducted persons in Borno State?
No, I'm not aware. I'm only aware that after this issue and the halubalu that he has been talking about, some people from my constituency came to me to say Kaigama defrauded them or extorted money from them by asking them to contribute money for the release of the people. But all of them that he claimed or he collected money on behalf, up to now, have not been released. So the people who came after we started this back and forth something, to say they are reporting this matter, I said, go to the appropriate authority. So he has a case now with the EFCC about extortion or financial crime, which is the appropriate authority. And I think the other agencies like DSS and police are also aware. And I also reported the case to the police after he consistently, or he made all those defamatory comments about me, and I said, this is getting out of hand and I need to do something. So that's why I reported to the police, reported to NSA, reported to DSS, and I'm also going to take him to court on this matter because it's serious defamation of character.
All right, welcome back. So you heard what Kaigama was saying, right? That conversation was held between the bandits, the terrorists, and the government, and that there were mediators, in the process, which is Senator Ali Ndume, according to what he said, he was told. So, and he said the money that was agreed was 5 billion naira, and 1.9 billion was released to them. So he's now raising this allegation so that the remaining 3.9 billion should be located to know who and who has cornered the 3.9 billion, basically. So, and again, I think he also want to use the opportunity to bring out those in government that are playing critical role in encouraging these people. Because the issue here is that once they keep paying ransom, you know what 5 billion is, for example, even the 1.9 billion they claim they have received, do you know what it can do for them? They buy more motorcycles they use to attack communities. They buy more guns they use to, attack communities, more weapons, more arms, more recruitment, and so on and so forth. So these are the things we are talking about. So if you are paying ransom, you are already fueling the security situation. That is the ills of ransom payment. And there was a law by the government that payment of ransom is what? Prohibited. So the same government who made a law prohibiting citizens from paying ransom to rescue their family members is also paying ransom. So just make it to make sense. So now, if citizen pays and is caught, government will prosecute that citizen. Then now government that is paying the ransom, who will prosecute the government? That's a big question. So you can see that the laws are basically meant for the poor, not for the government. It doesn't, hold government accountable. So I encourage that proper investigation be done in all these things so that they will stop this issue coming up over and over again. Tomorrow it may be another person's name that will be mentioned on how he's mediating payment of ransom to bandits or terrorists or whatever name you may call them. So again, I'm worried, how these guys are interacting with these bandits and terrorists. And Nigerians are saying they don't know where they are or they can't, attack them in their hideout. If they are calling normal citizens within the community, that guy has their number. You can track their number. You can track their calls. You can track their locations so that you get rid of these things once and for all. So, but it doesn't work that way. And the Borno government was also implicated in this whole thing that Kaigama was talking about, that the government is also part of this whole thing. And we all have already agreed and understood that government is complicit in all of this. If you listen to Gumik Sheiden saying government knows them, government knows their location, he knows them by name, that government knows everything about these people, where they are and what they do and everything. Because they always have discussion with government. Don't forget that government also held meetings with these bandits and all of that. They do hold meetings with them, have truths, have agreement, what need to happen and all of that. So it's not that government doesn't know them. But the question remains, everybody is asking, why is government not really attacking these people and getting rid of this thing and ending this insurgency? Many have alleged that the reason is because they are benefiting from the whole process. All the funding going to, security sector, where does it end up? Like you can see, this ransom now that we're talking about, and let's also assume that Kaigama is saying the truth, for example. So the 3.9 billion now, if you go and check, there may not be more than 10 people who have cornered that one. Let's assume the guy is saying the truth, and that's exactly what happened. So who are those few individuals who have cornered 3.9 billion? You see the question now. One singer say, if you ask me, now who I go ask? So that is the point. So the issue now is that from what Kaigama is saying now, let's pinch something from there. What I know is the president of Borno South Youth Alliance. I understand. But in this whole mix, how come that the terrorists are calling him to let him know, how much they receive? Which means they want to use him to fight for that balance. And he's already doing that job by coming on air to be able to say this on air. He's now fighting for the terrorists. That's the thinking. Because what he's supposed to have done is to relay the information, maybe to DSS or to whoever, and say, hey, this is what we got. Let's investigate to find out who are involved in this and that took the 3.9 billion and all of that. It would have been a bit coded, See, DSS will do their job. They know who and who are part of this thing. But for him coming out to say it, yes, he may be exposing people that are involved. But secondly, he's doing also that, fighting for those bandits. If you may think about it that way, because what is your interest? They have released the people. But I know they may not release all, definitely, because the money is not complete. There are still people that are there. Maybe his interest is fighting for them to release the remaining balance of those people so that the remaining people in captivity will be released. It can also go that way. So it's, we think from all angles so that we'll be able to balance our thoughts, and intent concerning this whole, matter. Looking the other way now, bringing Ali Ndume into the picture, but by virtue of what he was saying, he acknowledged that he has spoken with Kaigama, right? He acknowledged he spoke with him on phone, but he has never seen him face to face. That's what he said. And then at some point, when he was thinking that something is fishy, he said he sent him a voice note to stop calling him. That is not part of whatever process. He should stop calling him. And that was where the whole thing, escalated. So the fact is that when he was calling Ali Ndume, they were discussing what exactly were they discussing. What is the objective of their conversation? And what was that conversation all about? Ali Ndume did not, explain all of that, right? He didn't explain all of that. But he was quick to tell Nigerians that it's not part of whatever process. He also claimed he has not seen 1 billion, not to talk about 5 billion. He has never seen it in bulk. If you watch the whole video, you see where I was even telling, Shehu Okimbaloy that if he wants, he can show him his account, information. Most of this corrupt money does not end up in the bank. That is it. Because it's not made by transfers. It's paid by cash and in foreign currency, not in naira. 5 billion naira, if you convert it to dollar or pounds, it can fit into some few bags. That's all. That's the point. That's what they don't understand. So when you are telling us, oh, you have not seen 1 billion and that 5 billion can feed this room, you are not deceiving us. We know, we are wiser. Because 5 billion in pounds is just less than how many million pounds or whatever you may call it. So it's not much when you convert it to foreign currency. Nigeria have been devalued. Our currency have been devalued. So it doesn't hold much weight as it is. Now, apart from that, Ali Ndume said he was not mediating in the whole process and that Ngoshe is also his community. It's part of his constituency, right? Those people were taken. That is part of his constituency. And that he abhors negotiating with bandits. He abhors paying ransom to bandits. That's what he said. So, but will this guy just wake up one morning and start calling his name on national television with emphasis on his name? I don't think so. I don't think so, because there are many people in Borno. He's not the only senator from Borno in the National Assembly. There are 3 senators. Why is that guy calling him on 2 occasions? The first time he was on TV, he called him. When he was interviewed again, he called him again. So that's what DSS is supposed to uncover. Why is the guy calling Ali Ndume in this whole issue with emphasis on his name? So because he said the guy also said he has facts to back it up. So he got a call. It was the bandits, the terrorists that called him, that told him what he was saying. That's exactly the point. So, but because I'm tired of people coming on air, call people's name, say they have evidence. At the end of the day, when matter goes to court, they start shaking, they start vibrating. We saw that in the case of P2B and Kenneth Okonkwo. He said he has evidence to prove that P2B is a common man, that P2B took money from, as far as 10 million, 20 million from reps and Senate, contesting under NDC, that is the leader of the criminal gang. That's what he said, that he have facts. They now sue him to court. He now came back and was saying, assuming he even offended P2B, is it the way we treat him, taking him to court? What of other people who are saying unprintable things about him? You see what I'm saying? So this guy said on TV that he has facts to prove what he's saying. I hope he won't get to DSS, he will go to court without providing those facts. So we are tired of people coming on air, mention people's name, claim they have facts, at the end they don't have anything. So that's another part of the whole thing. But Ali Ndume's name have always come up when it comes to this terrorist something. It has come up before, like I said, cause dismiss the case because they don't have evidence to prove that. This is the second time again it's coming up again, his name. So what is the problem? DSS to investigate this whole issue to uncover what is really going on. Let us assume, without considering that the government, agreed the 5 billion and released the 5 billion. The question is, who are those trapping points? Who are those trappers that trapped the remaining 3.1 billion? Who are those people? We need to know them. They need to bring their name out and shame them. Let's just assume that is true. Okay? And again, you need to really, investigate this connection between these terrorist people and some people in the community that they are reaching out to. Will you not also say that some of these people may also be helping them, giving them intel within the community? Maybe they may be even getting kickback from, those terrorists for helping them, for whatever activities they want to do within that community and all of that. So there's quite a whole lot that need to be unpacked in this whole issue that is, lingering as we speak. So that's why doing a clean investigation in all of this, not shading people or anything. Because when people are not well handled, you can't deter them. They will continue to do the same thing, knowing that they will go scot-free. Like Ali Ndume said, that at the end of when he pulled out from the guy and said, "Stop calling me, I don't want to get involved in all of this. I don't negotiate with terrorists. I'm not in support of ransom payment and all of that." He now said that he now have to call the authorities. He spoke to NSA or spoke to DSS and the police. So he reported the guy to them, and I believe that's what led to his arrest. So the point is it the same thing that repeated is it Niger or Katsina I mentioned before, where somebody came to blow the whistle that the money these people are taking from government is not what was agreed with the bandit. They agreed very less amount, but they are taking so much from government coffers. That guy was arrested. This guy now has been arrested. Is it the same scenario that's trying to play out? Because Nigeria, we know, most people in government or most people that have power, that have those in power, that have that connection, they always like to use the power of government to suppress the people. I hope it's not suppression they are trying to do the guy by picking him, taking him out of circulation so that he doesn't go further to grant other interviews. And the case will naturally die like that. I hope that's not the game they are playing here. So the fact is that Ndume's name needs to be cleared. The Kaigama need to prove what he's saying. So for me, I think the investigation should uncover a lot of things, phone conversations. They can get warrant, go to NCC, and be able to get the call log of the guy, the call log of Ndume, so that they'll be able to know who and who are they calling, what is the conversation all about, MTN or all the telecom industry can provide a voice conversation and all of that. As far as his investigation, they have the necessary warrant, they will release them. And they can be able to know what they are discussing, whatever it is that is going on. That's the point. And then it's important to also bring the report to the public, let the public know what really transpired, so that we won't continue to be saying allege. So we need to know if it's a false allegation. We know if the allegation is true, then we know. Also, it's very important to carry citizens along. That's how to build confidence of citizens in government. But when government continue to do things in secrecy, coding, they coded everything they do things in obscurity and all of that. Everything they say, citizens will be skeptical, because if you measure citizen perception about government, you will discover that it's very low, very, very low, because nobody knows what government is doing. That's why everybody shouts, they borrow loan, nobody knows where the loan is going. They don't communicate to the people. The president does not talk to Nigerians. For 3 years, he has only done one media shot for 3 good years in government. Just the spokesperson coming to do propaganda and attack people who is talking about the government. That's what they do. They don't communicate what they do, policies they do, implementation of those policies, how the policies are yielding result. No conversation, nothing. So it's very sad. Go to US, you see the president almost every day have media, conversation all the time. They ask questions, they answer on every front, whether the war in Iran, whether what is going on in the economy in the US, the gas price, whatever it is. They ask him, he answer virtually every day in the White House. But our case is always different. So where are the correspondents in the Aso Rock? President supposed to be interfacing with correspondents in the Aso Rock, answering questions, not delegating people to answer questions, because people do not elect their essays. People elected him, so he's supposed to speak to the people, just like every other president does. Why is our case always different? And when you talk, Buala will say it's his style of leadership. What kind of nonsense style is that? What kind of style is that? If you can't talk to people, but when you are doing campaign, you were moving, telling people you will give them power, telling people that you will not increase WAEC fees, but today WAEC fees increase, power nowhere to be seen. You spoke to the people when you are doing campaign. Now you have entered, you can't speak to the people. That is the problem. So I don't know what it is, but the fact is that my take on this whole thing, as I summarize this thing, is that allegation has been made. DSS that is already involved should do proper investigation. Don't shield anybody, because we don't like the security that's going on in the country. How people are kidnapped, how people are killed on daily basis. We don't like it. We don't want it. So do your investigation, uncover what happened in this whole process. If ransom was paid, let it be made known that government is paying ransom. Because the essence of this whole thing is, when you look at what is going on or what went down in Oyo State, the governor was calling for international community to come and do independent, probe on the kidnapping and the release of those Oyo school students, 44 students, and including their teachers. Why? Because they too do not understand what happened. It's like abracadabra to the governor, because he just declared interest to contest for president. The next morning, people were kidnapped. 56 days. How they were released, he did not know. They sidelined him and did whatever they did. And they came out and told Nigerians through the spokesperson. That's why we don't like spokesperson talking to us. That's why we want to hear the president talk to us. Spokesperson tweeted that they have rescued all the children alive with unharmed, and that they neutralized some of the bandits. 8 of the bandits were kidnapped, were arrested, I mean. That's what they told us. Now, the news has come up If you listen to one of the teachers, the Zacchaeus Olatunde, when he went to Nigeria FM something, he was speaking. They called him on phone, and I was watching the thing, and they said that they were released by the bandits. The bandits just came and told them that they are free to go. They have been released. That's all. And they were all released. He said every other person left him. He was the last person because he had shackles in his, in his hand. That the key, they can't find the key. They almost want to cut his hand before they manage to open, the thing using some cable, some wire, something like that. And he was the last person that left the camp. But when he was leaving, he was joining the wrong route. They called him back at gunpoint and said, that's not the route, follow this way. That they even used bike to carry him to the point where the government security operatives are waiting for them. So what really happened? We have report that, the security operatives, picked up the relatives of those people that kidnapped them. That's what they said. Forcing their hands to now release those people. That's fine. We are not arguing whether they pay ransom or not. It was established that ransom was not paid. That's the strategy they used to force their hand. That if they harm those people, they will harm their family. So they now release those people. That's perfect. But the point is, when you are now telling us you neutralize some of their men, when there was no gunfire exchange between the security operative and the terrorists. Because they just released, they just told them, you are free to go. The guy that was speaking as the last person said they were even the people that carried him on a bike to some point and told him that they cannot proceed beyond that point. He should come down and go this way, and then they cross the river and whatever. They met the security operatives from Nigeria, waiting for them. They said they arrested 8 people. We didn't see anybody that was arrested. They neutralized people. There was nobody shown. Cops, nothing was shown. So now you see why the governor is asking for independent proof. Because government is not being truthful in exactly what transpired. Citizens need to know. Go and check. If there is any attack in the US, the police will hold a press conference, telling citizens what happened, how the shooter, came into the school, did this, assuming it's a school, shooting stop, and how the shooter was neutralized and everything. They will explain everything in details. Is it an attempt on the president? They will show it, air it. It will continue to be aired almost a week, telling people what happened, the updates and all of that. That's how things are done in civilized countries. You'll be watching it. In fact, at times you'll be seeing live, footage to how they are chasing the bandit, the shooter or whoever the person may be. The helicopter is following up, relaying live videos or something like that. But our case, no. So people are attacking the governor. Oh, the matter of this. Why is it called? Because there's no transparency. That's why transparency is a key element in democracy. But we lack it to the core. If a whole governor is asking for probe, then something is wrong. He's not just asking it because he likes to talk. No, he's asking it because he is confused about what really happened. How these people were kidnapped, how they were released. He has no clue what happened. He was sidelined. It was not part of the process. Did he understand what happened? So don't blame him. Blame the federal government who obscure all the things and was telling the citizen what actually, didn't. Because what the account by your non posted is different from the account the teacher who was among the victims that spent 56 days in captivity was saying. It's contradictory. It was contradictory. They would have told Nigerians that the bandits released the keys on harm on their own because this is the strategy the government used. And there was no exchange of gunfire. The victims have been rescued. Nobody would have been asking for probe. But say you neutralize some of their men, you arrested 8 of them. Where are the 8? I know that nothing is impossible in the country. They can go to any prison, pick 8 people, bring them and parade them that they are the bandits for your kidnap. It's possible. So, I don't know. And you look at the video they released. So many military vehicles, APCs, so many different, military joint tax team, police, army, civil defense, DSS, different, all of them, as if they are going to war. Whereas there was no gunshot. There was nothing that happened. The moment they released those kids, the bandits found their way and left the place. They have bikes. That's the bike they used to drop the last guy. So what are we talking about? So these are the issues. That's why we're talking about transparency. So this matter now that has gone to DSS, they should do proper investigation. Let citizens know what actually happened. At least, even if they don't want to acknowledge that government paid ransom, let us know who are the trapping points, who are the people involved in the mediation, in the negotiation, and all of that. That's the core element that guy is trying to understand. Those people, the mediators, those people who took the 3.1 billion, according to him, who are those people? Where is the money? So because they need other victims to be released, because they did not release all of the victims, because the money they agreed was not complete. That is it. Anyways, We will see how this whole thing plays out, because issue of this security matter is very, very serious, because you know, if they don't properly handle it, you may escalate to something else, and we don't want all of this. We want to focus on how to build our nation. That's why we are, you know, worried about how the government is tackling this security problem. We need to close these security problem issues by dealing with it squarely. That's my point. So, guys, I don't know what to think about this, what the guy said and what Ali Ndume has said. Who will clear their names now? I think the matter has to go to court. When they get to court, the guy should provide his evidence to prove that Ndume was the mediator and is part of the process. Ndume will also be able to clear himself that he has nothing to do with all of this. So that I've said it, they can pick up their call logs, you know, call information and everything they are doing, and be able to know who is saying the truth or not. So, but I don't know why Senator Ali Ndume's name will keep popping up when it comes to insecurity issue. This is the second time it has happened. He also said it in that video. If you watch it to the end, the video is over 30 minutes or thereabout. You watch it to the end, he acknowledged that the first time his name came up, he went to court for 6 years, and until court was able to decide the matter, because the security operative does not have adequate information or materials to prove their case. He acknowledged that. So this is the second time. Who knows what's going to come out at the end of the day. So guys, I'm going to let it slide there. I don't know what you think about this whole thing. My comment section is open for you. Let's hear from you, and let's hear your thoughts concerning this whole issues. So I'm leaving this stage, but before I leave, if you are new to this channel, please kindly like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel and put on your notification bell so that when my next new video drop, you'll be among those that will be notified. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I appreciate your support by subscribing to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching, and I'm signing out. See you.